Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your usual hosts here, Josh Hartley and Tom Mannering. Tom, how are we doing?
Not too bad, mate. How's yourself?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thank you. I'm not bad. We're not actually in the same building recording this. We've decided to opt for recording over Squadcast today, which is great because it means I'm still in my pyjamas. So
it does. It means that I didn't have to spend another day in a room with you as well. So you know.
Yeah. Oh God. You made it. You made it to less than a minute, Tom, before you slagged me off. Is that a new personal best?
I mean, I try.
So we've got quite a bit to talk about because I don't know if you've heard of this little-known convention, GenCon, something like the second biggest gaming convention in the world. That's happening on over in Indianapolis, and a lot of the big companies have revealed their new lines of products that are going to be coming out over the next 12 months there. So we've got that to talk about, but we've got some more important news to reveal first of all.
What is that news, Josh? What is that
news?
Yeah,
well, the astute among you listeners may have noticed that Tom is neither Ben nor Charlotte. And the reason for that is they have just given birth to... Charlotte has given birth. Ben was present, but...
he didn't do much.
I think it's fair to say Charlotte was doing most of the work for that. But, yes, baby Nathaniel Porter was born on July the 31st, coming in at £9, 7 ounces. So to put that into context, that is like an edition of Twilight Imperium 4th edition.
Wow.
So he's a big lad. I went over to meet him for the first time last night. Really, he's got a full head of hair on him as well, and basically all you'd need to do is draw a beard on him, and he would be Ben. It would be like a tiny Ben.
That doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. Ben's quite a hairy fella, you know, with the greatest respect in the world. So strong genes.
So the only other thing to note, though, throughout the entire pregnancy, they were told by every professional, "You're having a girl." So
given that we're obviously considered unlucky frogs, is Nathaniel like an unlucky tadpole?
I suppose so.
Is that like how
he's a little tadpole. I think there's a branded baby grow for him.
Is it?
Yeah, I think. I don't know.
That is staying on brand, dedicated.
Got it. He's the future face of Unlucky Frog. So whether
path
he
has
likes
been decided.
Yeah, whether he likes it or not, poor lad.
It's great news.
It is. So congratulations to Ben and Charlotte, and no doubt we'll have one or both back on the show shortly.
And possibly Nathaniel as well.
Right, possibly Nathaniel when he can talk.
Well, you might have him in the background whether you want it or not.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that's true.
Children don't typically respect recording schedules, to my knowledge.
That's fair. Have you tested that? Have you?
I mean, I don't capture children and see if they'll let me record.
I was going to say.
Shut up, Josh.
Yeah. So have I broken your illegal baby fighting ring wide open?
No. Trying to get me on record and everything, man. Come on.
I know. I'm actually on other related baby news. My sister's got a baby now, and it's christening soon. I'm opening up a little savings account for him, but to do that, you need a form of ID. So I needed his birth certificate. So I was saying to her, can you send over Gabe's birth certificate? Apparently, you need ID to enter someone into the UFC. So. Didn't go down well.
I mean, is that true? Do you need identity to get someone into the UFC? I imagine you must do. It's a
Yeah,
competition.
well, yeah, you know, they don't just let anyone in. They-
Just randos off the street, babe.
yeah, baby, yeah, exactly. So, so there we go. Congratulations again, Ben and Charlotte, and we'll hopefully have you back on the show shortly. Anyway, then, so GenCon is happening as we are recording.
Yes.
And we've got, as expected, quite a bit of news and new reveals to cover off. So where shall we start? Fantasy Flight had their keynote and they revealed a couple of new games. So what were they talking about?
So I'm pretty psyched about the first thing they announced. I think I actually messaged you the second it went up.
Yes.
They've announced a new card game called Marvel Champions, wherein you play as a single Marvel hero. So you pick which hero you want to play from the core box, and you fight against a villain and their schemes. And obviously this is it's a living card game, so it's going to have regular releases, bringing in new heroes, new villains, new schemes, the whole works. It seems to be in line with their other living card games. It's going to follow a similar format from what I've seen.
I was going to say they've been very successful with Arkham Horror, the card game. So I'm not surprised they're not deviating much from that formula. And this will inevitably appeal to fans of the Marvel universe as well. Is it going to feel? Should feel different to Legendary though. Because that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, the thing I kind of noticed when I was looking at it is it uses words like schemes and things, which obviously Legendary uses as a mechanic as well. Sort of the villain has a scheme, and you do have sort of a single mastermind in Legendary. But the difference, I think, from sort of how Legendary plays is Legendary, you don't really have a single hero you control. You have a team that all the players kind of control and recruit from. Whereas in this, you have your deck, so you have, by way of example, your Spider-Man deck, and your Spider-Man deck is full of Spider-Man related cards. The other thing as well I think is quite interesting about this is it allows you, it has a mechanic that flips you between your hero identity and your alter ego, and that actually affects gameplay. So if you're in your alter ego form, the villain can run riot and basically implement their scheme, whereas if you're in your hero form, you actually fight the villain, and you have different cards that interact with that as well. And also, however many people are playing, so say it was just me and you playing, we'd have our heroes. We also put cards from our deck into the villain deck that kind of tie in our characters.
Ah, right. Oh, that's cool. So the villain will do specific things based on the heroes they're facing.
Essentially, yeah.
Is there like a benefit for being in your alter ego state?
I believe so. I think you can do other things. The other thing is, as well, while you're in your hero form, the villain's going to attack you, so you're going to lose health. So you might need to drop into your alter ego state, one player or maybe more than one player, in order to get health back, to recover, to maybe recruit things. It's not 100% clear yet, but I can see there being benefits to it, for a reason for you to do that.
Cool. And have they revealed what's going to be in the starter kit? I mean, they mention in the press release, Marvel Champions is a cooperative card game in which you take on the roles of characters like Black Panther and Spider-Man. So if I was a betting man, I would guess that Black Panther and Spider-Man are going to be in the starter kit.
That would be money well spent, yeah. So Black Panther, Spider-Man are in there, Captain Marvel's in there, Iron Man's in there. A really weird one, though, is She-Hulk is the other hero that you get from the starter set.
Right. Okay.
I quite like She-Hulk, but she's a bit more obscure. The other ones, they're all in the MCU. They're all quite big players in the MCU now. And then She-Hulk just seems a bit out of left field.
Yeah, well, fair enough though. Maybe a little bit of fan service for some of the more obscure characters. The imagery that they're using as well. You can see Captain America, Hulk, Thor. So no doubt those characters will be added sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a good release schedule of characters there. I mean, you've got some iconic villains as well. You've got Ultron's one of the starter ones as well, and he's quite well known for Age of Ultron, obviously.
Yeah, excellent. Any confirmation on a release date as yet, then?
I'm not 100% sure. I think it's the tail end of this year, is what they've said. The last quarter of 2019, so probably October, November time.
Okay, then. Well, watch this space, guys. We'll definitely be picking that up and giving it our considered opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be destroying my wallet one expansion at a time.
At least this way, though, rather than what you had to do with Legendary, at least this way, you can just buy it as it goes.
Yeah, I'm in
right?
the ground floor rather than investing like 300 quid out the gate.
Yeah, so that's better, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not that I'm a sucker for a Marvel game or anything, but yeah, definitely.
It's a slow bleed rather than.
And isn't that what we all want?
Moving on, what else did Fantasy Flight reveal then?
So they have also, true to form, revealed another Arkham horror game.
I'm shocked.
I know, right?
Absolutely shocked.
Comes as a surprise to the entire gaming community. This one's called Final Hour, which I like what they've actually sort of how they're selling this. They've basically sold this as a short playtime game. As you and I both know, some of the Arkham games can get quite lengthy.
That's an understatement.
my first exposure to Arkham Horror was with Ben, and I think it was something like a 3 or 4 hour game, and we still didn't finish. So it can be quite daunting for a new player. And I mean, they're quite well known for being complex games, which people do like. It's kind of that Twilight Imperium sort of experience. But this one seems to have quite a short runtime, sort of advertised. It seems to be following that kind of formula where you're in the Miskatonic University, you're putting together a ritual to stop some sort of eldritch evil. The only thing for me is it sounds a little bit like, what's it called? Elder Sign.
Yeah, right down to the setting.
Yeah.
Because that's in the Miskatonic University as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's well, I mean, it's certainly the core set is anyway.
Yeah.
That's Miskatonic University based, and that's got quite a short runtime. I think Elder Sign usually clocks in at like 1 or 2 hours, especially if you've got an experienced group. So I don't know if it's a necessary game, but it looks good. Arkham Horror games always do. So I guess we'll see what comes with that. I mean, what are your thoughts about it?
I've got this unpopular opinion that we've got plenty of Lovecraftian themed Cthulhu stuff in the world now, and every time I see a new one, I'm like, The exception was Arkham Horror, the card game, was actually, I thought, really well done. But it's not for a love of the setting. I feel like this has been done to death now. So
what makes it worse as well is because the Cthulhu mythos is kind of open use or whatever you call it. So many companies are releasing Cthulhu things that it really does get saturated, and you can certainly say that Fantasy Flight do some of the best games for it, but they've done so many already, and you've got other people bringing stuff out as well. So you've got a market that's been quite literally flooded. I mean, I wrote an article on this about off the back of what you'd said.
Nice self plug,
right?
Self plug.
It's pro levels,
yeah. but it's true. I think anyway.
There is certainly a level of saturation with it, and maybe it'll be a good game. Who knows? But I do think you're right. We've seen a lot of this, and it could just be more of the same.
I'd be lying if I said I was excited for it, but it's Fantasy Flight. They usually do a good job of these things. So moving on then. Of course, all the big lads were at GenCon, including Games Workshop. We've got a couple of announcements for them. I think the biggest one is a new game, Aeronautica Imperialis, which is a game in which you take control of flyers. And you have dogfights in the 41st millennium. These aren't the flyers from 40k. These are scaled down, more like... I don't know exactly what scale they are, but they look to be a bit bigger than Epic, but certainly smaller than 40k. Comparing this a lot to... what was the recent Titans game they brought out?
Oh, I know which one you mean, but I can't
Adeptus
remember the name.
Titanicus?
It sounds something like that, yeah. Yeah, let's say it's that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. I'll badly dub over the right name. It was Adeptus Titanicus, yay!
Just a really bad, monotone dubbing just over the top of that. Adeptus Titanicus.
Different person. I'll ask a different person to record it.
Just get your next door neighbour to come and dub it in for you.
But it kind of looks similar to that in terms of scale. The models look neat. The only thing is, unlike a lot of the other Warhammer, Age of Sigmar and 40k skirmish games, these obviously can't be used in their respective core game, right? Because of the different scale. So it's a little bit, but still.
It's a really strange one because they did a dogfight game with the full scale minis, didn't they? Because there was the Orc one.
They did.
and to my knowledge, I don't think it did too well. So it's odd that they would kind of go for another game and make it one that does have to stand alone. Because as you say, you can't really use these as anything more than interesting pieces outside of this particular game.
That being said, though, they recently have had quite a lot of success with their standalone boxed games, so maybe this is furthering that market, that strategy.
But those standalone box games can still be used in the core games as well.
I know. But that's a problem for us. But that's not a problem for, most people who play tabletop games who aren't currently playing Age of Sigmar or 40k.
That's true, that is true. And I suppose if you're a fan of maybe Games Workshop and you're a fan of dogfights and that kind of aesthetic, or what was it, X-Wing, that was really popular as well. If it takes anything from that kind of gameplay, maybe it's your kind of your cup of tea.
Yeah, exactly. So other reveals that Games Workshop have is a Lizardmen team for Blood Bowl.
I saw this, the Saurians, is it?
It's you've got Saurus and some skinks, and my favourite model is a chameleon that is using its tongue to catch the ball. It looks, it's like I thought that was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, again, not really surprised at all. Blood Bowls proved to be quite popular. They're just chugging away with the different releases. I think the sculpts are quite nice. It's been a while since we've had some new skink sculpts, mind, and they look a bit more bug-eyed than recent ones, but
I feel like I'm coming down really hard on Games Workshop because I don't really like Blood Bowl that much, so I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
They are nice models, though. They are really nice models, and you're right, like, skinks haven't had a lot of love for as long as I can really remember. So it is nice to see some new models, and they are of that same standard that we see from GW these days. But Blood Bowl, to me, it's just kind of like, oh, that's nice. It's good for someone else.
Yeah. No, that is fair. That's fair. And the final big reveal was the third season of Warhammer Underworlds. They have confirmed it, teased a little sculpt from there, but now we've got a sight of the box. We've got a name, Beastgrave, and the two starter teams are Beastmen, and a new faction, as far as I'm aware, Skaith's Wild Hunt, offers us new insights into the mortal realms with our first look at the Knorthi, elf-like creatures with a savage style of their own. You need to see them. I think there's been a bit of I think some people are not so impressed with them. I quite like the look of them. They've got a sort of 80s aesthetic. But what they do, though, they remind me of like the big spiky hair that you used to see in Necromunda.
Sure.
But they've got like cloven hooves. There's a centaur. There's a lion in there as well. I think it's a new take on wood elves, basically. But have you seen them, Tom?
Yeah, I had a look at it. I like the look of Beastgrave. I think the Beastmen don't get enough love.
The Beastmen models are fantastic.
Definitely.
Sorry, I should have said that first. I particularly like there's what I'm assuming is some sort of shaman with a big staff. He looks amazing.
Yeah, I love the Beastmen models, and I mean, I don't think Beastmen do get as much love as they should do because they're awesome. It's weird, we were talking about this when we talked about Warcry last week. It's nice to see that they're adding in sort of these extra bits of lore about the mortal realms and how everyone exists in them that kind of expands on it, and they're using their kind of subsidiary games, their support games, if you will, Warhammer Underworlds and Warcry, to kind of bring that information into the greater sort of narrative. So the introduction of this new faction that way is quite cool. I'm kind of, I think the models look nice. I've got nothing against them. I certainly prefer the Beastmen, personally. If I was going to pick a faction out of that box, that'd be the one I'd go for. But yeah, they're decent models. They're quite nice.
Yeah, so that will be coming out latter part of this year. I think it was October, end of October, early November. So again, we'll no doubt be picking up a copy of that and giving it a whirl.
On that note, have you played much Warhammer Underworlds? Because I know you do play it a bit more than I do. Have you still been playing it, or...?
I have, not on any sort of organised play level. Basically, there's a 2-person meta that I'm in, me versus Ben. So I'll I'll get the odd game in. I've spent the last couple of months trying to clear my shelf of shame of unpainted models, and I've managed to get all my Underworlds warbands painted up.
Okay.
I haven't quite finished getting the first season of Shadespire though, so
Okay.
I need to. I've got some serious catching up to do, but there's plenty of time.
Sure, right?
Plenty of time.
All the time in the world.
Uh,
I don't even concern. I don't have a shelf of shame. I have a cupboard of shame,
right.
and I've had to accept that some of that stuff's just never going to get painted. It's just not going to happen.
This is life now.
Yeah, it's like this is where we live.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I just don't have the time or the resources to paint that anymore. But hey ho. So what else have we got on the docket?
From GenCon, I think the other one of the other big reveals was from Cool Mini or Not. Two bits of news from them. Second edition of Zombicide after 10 years now. Very popular game. I've never played it.
I was just about to say, never played it.
Yeah, same. But I think that was one of Cool Mini or Not's first big hits.
Sure.
So not surprised to see them breathe a bit of new life into it. The more interesting thing from Cool Mini or Not is that they are doing a game tying in with Cyberpunk as well.
Yes, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes, Afterlife.
Afterlife, yeah.
So obviously, Cyberpunk 2077, based on is a video game that's imminently to be imminently released, based on the old RPG Cyberpunk, and now it's kind of coming back on itself because we are now getting a tabletop game based on the video game based on the tabletop
It's
game.
like degrees of separation, isn't it? It's like card game based on video game based on role-playing game.
Yeah. So what's more interesting, though, is the designer is Eric M. Lang, who did Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and Bloodborne, the card game. So he's got a really good record. So exciting to see how that is going to pan out. In keeping with my theory on Cool Mini or Not games, I don't think this one involves miniatures, so it's probably going to be good.
So your theory, if I recall rightly, your theory is the best games they make don't involve minis. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I haven't played Blood Rage or Rising Sun, but I'll argue they could have just used standees for them. It wouldn't have quite been the same, but...
I remember when we were at UK Games Expo, I was walking with you at one point, and I was like, why is there a stand called Cmon? Has nobody thought that through?
Yeah.
And you're like, that's Cool Mini or Not? And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Nice.
It's weird, though, I think, that they've kind of come on this so quickly. Like, Cyberpunk 2077 is fairly recent. You know, it's become quite high profile over the past, year, probably.
I think it was E3 this year that the buzz really got going for it because Keanu Reeves was in it.
Yeah, yeah. Which, I mean, was awesome, to be fair.
Yeah.
I remember I've been psyched about this. I played Cyberpunk back when it was an RPG years and years ago, and I thought it was good, but I'm not a big future person when it comes to RPGs. I prefer sort of more historic and fantastical RPGs. But I did play Cyberpunk as an RPG. It was pretty good, so I'm pretty psyched to see what they do with the computer game. And by proxy on that, I suppose I'm quite interested to see what they do with the card game based on the computer game that's not even out yet.
Yeah. Well, this game, it's not coming out this year. Confirmed that it is coming in 2020. So we'll just have to wait until then to see that. Some other things. Other announcements that jumped out at me. Wizards of the Coast have revealed some of the cards from their new Commander Precons. These Commander Precons are incredibly popular, so it's not really a surprise that they're using GenCon as a means of revealing some of that and starting to drum up some of the hype. Do you play any Commander at all, Tom?
I have 2 Commander decks. I think the last time I played Commander was maybe about 2-3 years ago.
Right.
I tend to buy a Commander deck if I like it, but I don't get to play Magic the way I used to. Very few people I know play Magic in an analog format now. It's all online.
It is. It's to be fair. As great as Arena is, it means I haven't actually played paper Magic in a while now. So yeah. But the Commander is a format that you can't play on Arena. I think you can, strictly speaking, play it online, but it's miserable. So this one will probably go down quite well.
Commander seems to be quite a popular format for Magic. It always seems to do really well whenever it comes out. So I think a lot of people do really enjoy Commander format. I wonder if they've maybe even intentionally held back on putting it on Arena because it is really popular in the circuit.
It's not just that though, because I think you don't have voice chat on Arena, right? I mean, obviously, if you knew who you're playing against, I suppose you could do something on Discord, but voice chat isn't built into the game like a lot of games. So with that, I think you would lose a lot from the Commander experience, because half of Commander I found was politicking and like trying to say, if you don't attack me, I won't attack you, and we'll form a little alliance here, and that sort of thing.
There's a lot of scheming in the background of Commander for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the ideal, the ideal experience. What I tend to find Commander is, because I play against our pal Barry quite a bit, is watching Barry's deck do its thing for 20 minutes.
Sure.
And then losing.
Yeah, I know that experience as well.
And then we all just sit there and say, "Oh, that was fun." So yeah, so that will be coming out in a few months' time as well. We featured Parks in an episode earlier this year. This is a board game that has been published by Keymaster Games, and they've partnered up with the printmakers at 59 Parks, the organisation that looks after the United States National Parks, to give what, just frankly, a gorgeous looking game based on hiking the different national parks in the United States. So I know Ben was really excited for that. I think it looks great as well. So that is on sale for the first time at GenCon and getting a broader release in September.
I think these kind of awareness games are a really good thing. You know, it's the same as sort of like Wingspan and stuff like that. They kind of increase your knowledge of the natural world and all that kind of jazz. Because I wouldn't have a Scooby, without those kinds of things. So,
yeah,
really good for those kinds of elements as well as being good games in their own right. They're not just.
And to a degree, they're gonna sell the national parks to people as well. So that's never a bad thing. These are these public spaces are really important, not just obviously in the United States, but our very own as well. So who knows? Maybe we could get a UK expansion.
The Kelvin Grove Park expansion. There's just a bunch of guys drinking Bucky on the card.
Oh, God. I was thinking a little more classy, like the Peak District and the Highlands, but no, we could go with the local park with guys with white lightning. Why not? Why not?
I mean, I'd play it. I'm not gonna lie.
I played that game when I was a teenager. It's
I've seen too much.
Yeah. Anyway, also featured previously on our show has been Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Yeah, so that's actually come out for release at GenCon. So we interviewed the guys at UK Games Expo about this and got kind of their take on what was cool about this. I'm still sort of about it. I've sort of got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder about it, but I'm trying to get past it. But I mean, the book looks great. I saw the GM screen that they've released, and it's a stunning GM screen. The artwork on it, as usual, is of a really high standard. They do kind of cheat in that way because they use Wayne Reynolds for a lot of that artwork, and his art is just kind of an instant win for me.
Yeah.
So that's problematic in that sense. But I mean, if you like Pathfinder and you want something new, give 2nd Edition a go. See what you think. Don't take my word for it because I'm biased.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, like I think the problem for me was no backwards compatibility. Like
Yeah.
we've spent years building up these characters, and now we hit the reset button and we can't take them with us.
Yeah, I mean this is the big issue. For me personally, I was obviously really involved in PFS for first edition Pathfinder. I've got literally a dozen characters for that will never go any further than the narrative that's already existing, because they've scrapped PFS as well. That's now starting anew. So you can still play through the old content, by all means play the content that has been written to date, but you won't be able to carry your characters over into the new edition unless you start them as brand new characters and obviously reskin them. But you can't carry over your previous adventures and things like that beyond a few sort of little boons that give you bonuses to new characters. So that stuck in my throat a little bit. And while I probably could play out the characters I have with the existing scenarios, it's not the same as getting that exciting new content. That's what people always want, is you want the new thing, the shiny new thing. And sadly, PFS isn't going to get that anymore for the first edition. You're going to be running on old content. It's a weird one though, because there's so much with Pathfinder first edition that I've still not done. There's dozens and dozens of modules I've not run. There's dozens of adventure paths. I mean, the adventures I've run for you guys, I've still got loads and loads of content there. So I suppose you can't really gripe.
The beautiful thing with it being so similar to D&D 3.5 is that there's all the content that was created for D&D 3.5 that you could probably use and still get away with it working, albeit maybe tweaking it ever so slightly. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I had a go at it at UK Games Expo last year. I want to have another crack at it, but at the same time, our game that you're running, keep that as first edition, please. Let's not nuke the characters.
There will be no transition. Don't worry. We'll be staying first edition for the foreseeable. The fact of the matter is, can't just cross over from one to the other anyway. We have characters that are built into specific things, like Ewan plays an Arcanist. There is no Arcanist in second edition at this stage. A lot of the things that you guys have taken, various archetypes and things, just don't exist. There's not the wealth of content. And this is what I always find. You get kind of a content drought at the beginning of a new RPG. You can't just kind of jump straight into it because there's only a very limited amount of things to use. And the fact that PFS second edition has no backwards compatibility, you can't actually draw on any previous resources for rules and things. You're going to have to homebrew everything, whereas at least Pathfinder first edition, you could pull on as you say, you could pull on the 3.5 content and you'd have all that as well as your Pathfinder content. So it's a tricky one, but if people want to give it a go, see what you think. If you're starting a new campaign, it might be worth trying out with that rule set. I mean, they are bringing out some adventure modules and adventure paths with it, so who knows?
Who knows? But yeah, watch the space. I'm definitely we'll make a point of giving it a go. The last thing I wanted to mention that I saw on GenCon, and Tom, I thought of you when I saw this because it combines two things that I know you're quite a fan of, because it's a new version of Legendary.
What? How do I not know this?
Oh, Tom, let me tell you what theme it is. It's James Bond.
Oh, I heard about this. I heard kind of whitters about this. Yeah, James Bond Legendary. That's an odd choice.
Do you not think? I think that sounds really cool.
I don't know, because obviously with Legendary you have your team that you build up. I mean, what do you have all the different Bonds? Do you have?
I'd love that.
Bond and
somehow that James the different James Bonds in some sort of parallel universe have all met.
Yeah. Sort of Crisis of Infinite James Bonds. Yeah, I don't know. It's an odd one. Bond doesn't really have that many sort of practical allies. I mean, I'm looking at the full Bond collection right now on my desk, and he has his fixed team, right? So he has the guys back at home, and then he has kind of always the femme fatale, or the female companion, if you will, that sometimes betrays him, sometimes doesn't, depending on which Bond you're referring to. I suppose you could have those as potential allies as well. So I suppose there is a wealth there if you draw on the support characters from each film. I mean, I've not looked at it in any detail yet. I'll need to Google that after the podcast to have a wee look at what's been announced. But sure, yeah, Bond Legendary, why not?
I mean, if you if you had to pick a Bond to fight for you in Legendary, yeah, you're playing Marvel Legendary, and you can take one James Bond in with you. Which like James Bond
one
is
actor
it?
as Bond.
Yeah.
It'd be a toss-up for me. It would be either Pierce Brosnan, because he's the Bond I grew up with. So whatever your opinions are on him, he was the one I grew up with. Or I think just for my dad, I'd take Timothy Dalton, because I know my dad thinks Timothy Dalton's grossly underrated.
Timothy Dalton was underrated as Bond. I thought like the couple that he was in were great.
Yeah, so he was in Living Daylights and License to Kill, if I remember rightly. And yeah, I like both those films. So, and I mean, Timothy Dalton's got that slickness to him. So yeah, let's go. Timothy Dalton will be my legendary Bond.
Just for me, just because I think he's the Bond that would fit most into the Marvel universe, is Roger Moore.
Okay.
I mean, come on, it's cheese all over, right? I mean, this is a James Bond that went on Moonraker, like.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, he would fit into that kind of sort of silly comics universe. I think if you were doing sort of a DC legendary, you'd probably have to take Daniel Craig for like the gritty dark, the DC universe. Like Daniel Craig as your gritty dark Bond for that.
So, what's your opinion on Daniel Craig as Bond?
I
know
like
he's been
him.
Bond for like 10 years now, but...
Yeah, no, I like Daniel Craig. Skyfall's one of my favourite Bond films. I think he's a different type of Bond, and you've got to treat it as that. This has gone weirdly off topic.
Let's run with it. It's cool.
Nothing. Yeah, I do like him. I think it's probably kind of time to move on from him, which I think they've said they're going to do anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed his run. He had a couple of flubs, but every Bond does. So
yeah, Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, that's not good.
But no, Craig's fine. It's just my thing was they stopped feeling like James Bond films for a little while, and then they kind of got back to that in Skyfall. But Casino Royale, I thought, was, are we just trying to be the Bourne Identity here?
I think you needed a palate cleanser though, because Die Another Day was garbage. Like it was
garbage,
so bad. So I think they needed something just to go right. Okay, let's take a different approach to this for a little bit.
It was garbage, but I did miss the gadgets. That was
you like the classic jetpack.
I know the best thing about it is Q will have, okay, Bond, here's the gadgets you're going to take on this mission. Here is a pen that can be used as a grenade. And then you're thinking to yourself when you see that scene, all right, when's he going to need a grenade?
Yeah, it's very much the, what's it called? Chekhov's gun, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much that with the Bond films. Like, he basically gives him the gadget he will need exactly later on in the film.
The more specific the scenario, the better as well.
On a slight tangent away from Bond and Legendary, we had some more of our Kill Team campaign go on last night.
Oh yeah, how did that go?
So we had Barry and Callum, Lanky Santa, were over here, and they were playing their game against each other. So we're into our second round now. So you obviously beat me last weekend, so they had their game this weekend.
So we didn't cover that off on last week.
Nope, I don't recall needing to speak about that.
So who won that match again?
That was Tom? You, Josh. You won that match.
Thank you.
Did you just want that on record?
Carry on. Proceed.
I mean, you didn't just win that match. You gave me a sound spanking in that match. It was pretty rough.
Plague Marines are nasty. Who knew?
I mean, it was that, and the environment really kind of hurt me on that one because we had, what was it, dust and debris in the air, so -1 on all my shooting.
Everyone, and I because of that, I took a plague spewer, which is basically a flamethrower type weapon, which hits automatically. So I was just like, ha ha!
And my host of Imperial Guard just had nothing to do. Because they couldn't shoot for toffee. But no, speaking of that though, so the environment went against me in that game, but the game last night between Barry and Lanky Santa, the environment went against both of them. So they agreed to play on a Death World Forest.
Right.
They had a mission which was essentially escape the Death World Forest.
Okay.
Where the forest is trying to eat you. So realistically, killing your opponent becomes sort of a second string.
Right.
And you just want to get off the board as quickly as you can. So the winner is the person who actually gets the most people off the board, and the loser, you lose points for everyone who's either still on the board at the end of the game or who's been taken out of action.
Right.
So both of them had very heavy casualties. Barry got wiped out almost to a man, but Barry still won because he managed to get 2 people off the board, whereas Callum, I don't think got anyone off, or maybe got one person off, I can't quite recall. So it was one of these ones where you had to really play the scenario, but it was brutal seeing this like Death World literally just come alive and devour their teams as they were trying to get off.
That's cool though. That sounds like a great I love Kill Team for that, like these sort of weird scenarios.
I think the fact that Kill Team, it kind of combines very evocative environments with scenarios as well. Mm-hmm. So you've got this thing where, 2 kill teams are duking it out, and then suddenly the entire forest comes alive around them and starts eating them. Yeah. It's very cinematic. I think they were both kind of a bit grumbly about the general scenario, just the fact that the entire map was against them. But yeah, Barry came out that a winner. So he's currently sort of leading the campaign. He's had 2 wins, so everyone else has 1. And my 2 losses. We're still waiting for Scott and BM to play their game.
Yeah, so that could change then.
We've got Dave joining us as well now with his with Thousand Suns. He's
winning. So he'll need to. Well, I suppose we're just doing it as a round robin anyway, aren't we? So we'll.
Well, what I've decided to bring Dave up to speed, because we're now on odd numbers, we're going to have an NPC team that anyone can play. And can be any faction as well. You just have a nebulous team that will just act as the 8th player, that someone will just pick up and play a team against the odd player. So Dave's going to be brought up to speed with that, and then he can obviously join in the rest of the campaign at the same speed as everyone else.
There we go. No, so we'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully we can get on to round 3 shortly, because I'm eager to try and capitalise on my recent win.
And Josh, guess what we've got in a couple of days?
What have we got in a couple of days, Tom?
It's Pathfinder night, mate.
Yay!
I know you're looking forward to that.
We're still getting murdered in this damn university. Oh, no.
More to look forward to.
I know. I can't wait. My body is ready. And on that note, guys, look, thanks very much for listening. Until next time, take care. Bye. Bye.